get this right. Well, I'm glad you guys are here this morning. How are you? What was that, Brad?
It's a Monday.
It's a what?
It's a Monday.
Does it feel like Monday? Yeah. Hey, Barbara. How are the rest of you? Huh? I just said hi. Oh. And how are the rest of you? Pretty good? Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and start by saying, let's see, Sunday evening, we had a massive storm. And Rob and I were sitting watching the third part of the Beatles documentary that just came out. And so it was loud, you know. And then we kept hearing this. Finally, I was like, pause that. What is that? And it was this massive storm. We lost electricity for a little bit. And anyway, when I was online the next morning, everybody was talking about the storm that had occurred. And I remember after we realized it was so stormy, I looked over at Rob and I'm like, because I've been telling you that a lot of the astrologers are saying there's going to be a lot of chaotic energy through the month of December. And I looked at him and smiled. I said, now the chaos begins. He just kind of rolled his eyes at me. And so the next morning when I was online, I started thinking to myself, I'm like, we had such a fierce storm last night, and I'm just curious because I hadn't checked in a while. What's the status of the planet as far as like earthquakes and volcanoes? And so I started researching, and there was tons of earthquakes and volcanoes. And then I found this article that was saying in 2020, it had quadrupled. And there wasn't the, at least I didn't see the statistics of 2021. And there had been a big volcano in Indonesia, in Peru. Anyway, it showed a map and it showed all the red spots of all this happening. So I'm like, wow, okay, that's a lot. And it made me start thinking, and I've been hearing this as well, and I want to share it with you. Everything that happens at a micro level is going to affect us at the macro level. Everything that's happening at the macro level is going to respond at a micro level. It's all based on what interconnects everything, which is energy. We have this statement in yoga where attention goes, energy flows. So there's been a lot of division. There's been a lot of storms, so to speak, right? Storms with the Me Too movement, the storms with the Black Lives Matter, the storms with the political madness, the storms with the election results, the storms with the insurrection, the storms with COVID, the storms with the vaccine, storms of the narratives. It's just like happening all around us. And so what we need to remember is our emotions are like the inner weather patterns. You know, we can be calm and serene, or we can be temperamental, or we can be like crying a river, like, you know, there's all these different emotions that play out. And the weather often is going to mimic what's happening with humanity at that level. And vice versa. What's happening energetically and emotionally amongst humanity is going to affect the planet. The two go hand in hand because it's all this energy exchange. And so I want to remind you of that because there's not a lot of people doing yoga right now. And yoga and meditation is about calming the inner storm. We can have an emotional eruption. We can have the mental restlessness, the mental storms. And it's up to us as individuals to take responsibility to come back into that state of yoga over and over and over again. Because as we step into that state of yoga as an individual, we will then affect others around us, even if we don't realize it or not. We will create those ripple effects, and we will affect the collective nature. And so just this week alone, after that's the way my week started and where my thoughts were, I had a phone call Monday evening from a student. She's a new student. She just started with me a few months ago. But she has my phone number. I've done a couple privates with her. And she called me up and she was like, I'm having a panic attack. I had to call the ambulance. She's a workaholic. And she was like, I stayed at the office late. And she was, I don't know what happened. I'm just freaking out. All this anxiety just came over me. So I had to kind of talk her down from it. The ambulance came, checked her, she's fine. And then she connected with me again halfway home. She stopped to get gas. And she was like, just so you know, I talked to my husband, he's waiting for me at home. Better. And I need to get back into yoga. Because she had been doing yoga consistently for 3 months, 3 days a week. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, she stopped. Because she got busy. She's a realtor. She's selling a lot of houses right now. All it took was the 2 weeks without yoga, and she's flipping out. So yesterday, I was supposed to have lunch with a friend of mine. I haven't seen her in probably 6 months. And she is a performer. She's a singer. And she's got her first show Thursday night in 2 years. She hasn't sung in public for 2 years. And I reached out to her because I hadn't heard from her. And I was like, hey, are we still having lunch? And she was like, I can't. She was like, PTSD set in. I'm scared to death. Really nervous about my performance. I don't think I'm ready. I haven't been doing all my vocal exercises. And she had to have vocal surgery a number of years ago and lost her voice for 6 weeks. And had to write everything down for 6 weeks. She couldn't even whisper. So all that came on her. And she was like, I gotta go get EMDR. I think that's the thing that she was going to get yesterday. But she took action to calm the inner storm. So if I'm seeing this as a pattern, I want to talk about it today because this could be happening inside of you. This could be happening inside of your home. We know it's happening at large, and that's why we're here, to be the eye of the storm, the eye of the cyclone, the eye of a hurricane, the eye of a tornado. It's actually calm and peaceful. It's everything around that's chaotic. So we're going to become the eye of the storm. Okay? We're going to start in the pose. We're going to be on the bed. Now I'm going to let you choose whether or not you want palms down or open for this. You can play around with it to see how it feels. Have your right forearm in front of your left. Separate your feet as wide as the tiki mat. Give a little rocky roll to the hips so you can loosen up your low back. And then press into your hands to lift the elbows off the floor. And then slide them so the arms are crisscrossing. And then if you want a little more, right, check in. Wiggle or travel the fingertips a little bit farther away. And then bow your head and close your eyes. And then again, check in with your shoulders. If that's too much, do a little less. And kind of notice how the sensation is erupting maybe in your arms or shoulders somewhere. That can you start to consciously control the breath. So the breath is calming you down to face the feels. You relax into your belly so that it's bellowing as you breathe. Can you ensure that you're not holding or contracting in your low back, your buttocks, or your legs? Even though this is typically more of a yin pose, we're not going to stay in it as long as you would. Soften the muscles of the face, the area around your eyes, the forehead. Take 3 more breaths. Lengthen count. Slowly start to lift the head up. Glide your arms closer together. And then your left arm is going to reach out at shoulder height, palm facing down. You're going to turn down to your left ear, slide your right hand in front of your chest, and then you're going to pick up the right leg, bend the knee, and tap the big toe behind the right leg. Now you're in control of how much you hike the knee up in the air. If that's too much for your SI joints or for your low back or even for this left shoulder, feel free to bend your left knee and just stack your right leg on top of that, okay? This is called broken wing. Some people like to lift the right arm in the air and draw it back. That's yogi's choice. Not needed or required. Just stay in command over your breath. You may discover that even just staying calm and in control of your breath helps to lessen the sensation. It's not as intense. I'm going to be using the same affirmation throughout today's practice. Feel free to affirm internally in your mind. At the center of life's storms, I choose to remain calm and serene. As you exhale, let's unroll from that twist. Come back to the abdomen. Slide your left arm in front of your right forearm. Separate your feet about as wide as a sticky mat. Rock and roll the hips. Lift the elbows up. Slip and slide the arms through to cross. Taking it as deep as you want. And bowing the head. Neutralizing the rest of the body. If you think about it, when we enter into the state of yoga, we're in this state of unison, where we're not feeling polarized or pulled here or there, left or right. The second verse of the Yoga Sutra says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the lessening of the agitations of the body. Yoga is the lessening of the restlessness in the mind. Yoga is the neutralization of the whirlpools of emotion. Let your breath show the way. Three more breaths. Gently lift the head up. Slide your arms closer in. Then the right arm's going to sail to the side, come down to the right ear, left hand in front of your chest, and then roll to the right side body. Taking the left foot behind, uplifting the left knee skyward. And then, of course, if you need to monitor the hips or low back and take it a little easier, you can always bend the right knee and stack the left leg on top. Just remember, we shouldn't always take it to the max, but we also shouldn't always take it to the minimum. You can try to strike a balance between the two. Let's unroll out of that broken position. Come back to a prone position. Slide your right hand in. So both hands are locked up underneath the shoulders. Push up to table and then exhale into extended Blissful. Keep your elbows going off the floor. Externally rotate your upper arm bone. Then we're going to flow back and forth between up dog and this position here. So as you inhale, rock up. You can stay on the knees. You can open the heart and throat. And then exhale, taking the hips back forward to the heels. Now, if for any reason up dog is too much in this moment, remember you can always do cow tilt as an alternative and then press into child's. So please know there's always options. Try to flow and sync with your breath. The next back bend you take, curl your toes under and carry yourself into downward facing dog. Pressing down through the palms, spreading open through the fingers, lengthening back away from your wrists, bowing the head between the arms, sailing your seat as high as possible, meaning that you're also equally pressing down through the feet, lifting up through the legs. Once you gain this height, Ensure that your breath is clear and open, because that will invite you into that space of calm serenity. On your next inhale, gently begin to walk your feet forward. Now, if your strap is somewhere beside you along the way, bring it with you. Stand on the feet, but bow over the legs into your Uttanasana. And you can be active or passive with your knees and quads. Let your shoulders just effortlessly fall off the back. Let your head naturally hang. The eyes can be open or closed here. But make sure you feel weight underneath that padding below your toes. Affirming here, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back, because at the center of life's storms, I choose to remain calm and serene. All right, let's go ahead and take a hold of that strap, and let's bring it with us when we come to stand. All right, we're going to unroll that strap. Then, after we fold it in half, oh, sorry, here. Hold it shoulder distance apart in front of you. Go ahead and lift it overhead. And notice when we lift the arms up, we have the tendency to lose awareness of the action in the legs. So let's plug the feet down, feel the kneecaps lift up, the quads get engaged. Feel the navel lifting up towards the ribs getting some space. All right, now gently bring the strap just behind the base of the head, okay? Visualize you're pressing that strap towards the wall behind you, and at the same time, lift through your floating ribs, lift through your side waist. Continue to lean the head back as your arms push up and back. Arms push up and back. Slowly straightening out, shift your weight more into the balls of the feet. Allow the tailbone to face downward. Breathe up into your heart center. One more breath. And then gently bring it out of the back bend and fold down, release the strap. Once you fold down, we're going to inhale, step the left foot back. When the left foot steps back, make sure you have the length in your thighs first, then lower your back, knee, shin, and foot to the floor. All right, press down firmly through the right foot. It's the active way to come up. The right hand's going to come to the waist. The left arm's going to reach up overhead. All right, you have the option to be more here. You also have the option to surrender down through the hips and to create a little bit of a back bend here to work into that psoas. On your next in-breath, if you did surrender the hips, press again through the right foot, draw up to the pelvic floor, up to the navel, up to the crown of the head and fingertips. And then as you exhale, bring that left arm in front of your chest, cross the right arm under. Continue to intertwine the forearms and hands. Now we're holding Garudasana arms. See if the upper arms can maintain a parallel nature with the floor. Hold and breathe, gazing at one spot in front of you, even if it's one of the pores on your skin. On your exhalation, We're slowly gonna fold forward. The elbows will drop just to the inside of that front knee. Now the forearms are parallel to the ground. You're gazing down. Inhale, press through the right foot. Draw up through the inner thighs, up to the pelvic floor, up through the crown of your head. Exhale, release. Frame the front foot with your hands. Curl the back toes under. And you're stepping into a flying plank. So notice if your shoulders are not over your wrist, you're more in down dog. So keep your shoulders over the wrist. Exhale, contract and curl in cheetah. Inhale, flying plank. Let your head reach the right foot towards the back wall. Exhale, cheetah. Good. Inhale, flying plank. Exhale, cheetah. Now inhale, full plank. Exhaling, downward facing dog. When you re-arrive to downward facing dog, set your feet the appropriate distance apart. And you form that relationship with your breath, because sometimes core work can throw the breath off. Now, if you need a modified plank in chaturanga today, you can always go straight to knees, chest, chin in this position. If you want the full vinyasa, you're going to take plank chaturanga, and then you're going to come to the belly. So I'm doing knees, chest, chin today. If you want to follow along with me. Inhale, slither through to the belly to cobra. Do a baby cobra first. Legs lengthen down the mat. Shoulders loop up and back away from your ears. This space here works well, doesn't it? And then try not to use too much of your arm strength. Try to still emphasize your legs, your glutes, your back strength. And then slowly push up and back. Circle the arms around you, drop into child's. Let the shoulders melt over the knees. Let your weight penetrate your forehead. Releasing away from all the outer involvements and returning to our inner haven of peace. The state of yoga is the eye of the storm. Inhale, stretch your arms out if they're not already. Rock up to your hands and knees. Exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Yogi's choice, you can meditationally walk. You can take a big lunge and step with one foot and then follow it with the other, or you can float both feet up together and lower into your Uttanasana. Slow, deep breaths. Hopefully that strap is still there. We're going to take hold of that strap, hold it shoulder distance apart. Bring it all the way up. Exhaling, hands behind the head. Okay, lodge the feet down, engage your legs. Lift up through the floating ribs. Begin to push the strap behind you and up. Behind you and up. Eventually straightening out to the arms. Eventually arching back. Standing backward bend. Make sure you're not creating an inner storm. Right? There shouldn't be agitation. Find where you can comfortably breathe. And then exhale. Bring the strap down and fold again. Inhale, right foot's gonna step back. Way back. Lunge that front knee. It's only when we have this deepness that when we sink the back knee, it's not gonna be right up underneath the hip. And we can get more into the psoas, which is really important. That's ties all back into our emotions and nervous system. All right, push down through the left foot, slowly build up. Left hand to the hip, right arm reaching in the air. Now, if you're done with back bend, although I am building this up for a back bend. So if you want to keep building for it, join me. But if you need to leave it out for whatever reason, you can stay here. Otherwise, arch back. And if it feels good in your body, you can surrender through the hips. Monitor your neck. You don't have to crank it so hard. Inhale, reactivate and lift. Re-erect the spine. Right arm in front of your chest, 90 degrees. Left arm scoops under and around. Eagle arms. So the affirmation that is primary today, at the center of life's storms, I choose to remain calm and serene. That is based off the eagle pose. If you want to hinge, feel free. Down. Stabilize that front knee if it's getting wobbly by really pressing into the mound of the big toe. And then inhale, push harder to rise up. Exhale, release. Take the hands down, curl the back toes under, pluck up that knee, take it to flying plank. Good, exhale, cheetah. The belly pulls in and then the upper back rounds out. Inhale, straighten out to flying plank. Exhale, round it, contracting your core. Good, again. Inhale, plank, step the left foot to the floor. Lengthen back to downward facing dog. So we're working with some cobras today. So remember, if you choose to take the full vinyasa, the low push-up, land to your belly. And if you want to join me in Ashtanga Pranam, go ahead and lower knees, chest, chin. Your choice. We'll all meet each other in baby cobra. Legs back, glutes strong. Breath open. Like a surfer waiting for the right wave. No surfer in their right mind would be out in the ocean if the storms were brewing. Inhale, come up. I don't know, there's probably some daredevils out there. And then take it up and back. Wrap your arms around. Take a moment in Child's. Child's is a very calming pose to be in. So if your heart started to race, your mind started to run, come back home to yourself. Come back home to your breath. Back to be the eye of the storm. So arms reach ahead. Rock up hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. Yogi's choice to walk, to lunge, to float to the top. And bow, Uttanasana. Find your strap. Bring it with you on the way up. Bury the feet. Line up the legs. Bring the strap behind the head. When you're ready, your shifting forward with your hips and belly. You're lengthening the arms up and back. By the way, back bends are very uplifting to our spirit. They are a mood enhancer. So if you've been sullen or sad, hopefully this will help to improve your condition. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, bring it back down. Your next in-breath, your left leg's gonna sit back. We're not descending the knee this time. We're lifting the arms up. Now, see if your palms can come together and bring your thumbs to your upper back. If you need to leave that out for whatever reason, it's okay. See if you can tuck the elbows closer in towards the side of the head and maybe lean the head back into your hands. All right, we're gonna bring the arms back up, bring the arms in front of us. We're sliding the right hand to the hip, and we're gonna crank this left arm to the outside of the left thigh. At the same time, instead of shrinking the shoulders and chest, we're gonna roll the right shoulder back and try to expand the chest. Because there's other variations of this that are a deeper expression. You're welcome to take it. I was just taking us here today. Sometimes less is best. Good, unwind, plant the palms. Now, when we move the right leg back, we're gonna lift it up into the one-legged version of down dog. All right, we're gonna exhale, cheetah. What we did earlier from plank. Inhale, the right leg lifts up and back. Exhale, cheetah. One more. This time, take your right foot back alongside your left. Press up and back to downward facing dog. If you want the vinyasa with plank and low push-ups, take it. If you want to join me, come to knees, chest, chin. Inhale through to the belly. Maybe into a higher form of cobra. Exhale back. Arms circle around. So I'm coming back over and over again to this pose, this still point, this touchstone, this pose that is calming, that invites peace in. The more we cultivate peace within, we'll be able to share the peaceful vibes out. I was driving around with my son at some point last week, and we were talking about how opinions are really high about this or that. And I told him, I'm like, be sure not to get caught up in all that. And he was like, oh, Mom, I stay neutral with everything. And I thought, what a yogic response. Inhale, send the arms out. Rock up hands and knees. Curl the toes. Take down dog. All right, on the next inhalation, we're stepping the left foot forward. Once we take the left foot forward, we're building up into crescent. This is more of a balancing pose. Try to even out your hips and pelvis. Hands together, thumbs to the upper back, arms roll in, heart pops up. Breathe. Arms relift, bring them down in front of the chest. Left hand slides back to the hip. Right arm stays long. Take it to the outer side of the right thigh, but be sure to lift the navel over the thigh, expand your chest, left shoulder back. Take your leg tip towards the back of your mat and then squeeze and tuck it in a little. Good, exhale and wide plant the hands. Launch the back foot forward this time. Fold down. Let everything flow towards the crown of the head. Bring more blood flow into your mind. Hands take a hold of that strap. Slowly bring it forward and up. This will be our last one of these. Feet grounded, arms lifting, hands behind the back. Start to shift forward. And then slowly lift the arms up and back, up and back. So the arms are needed, shoulders needed, hip flexors needed, not just the spine for a back bend. Exhale, release. Breathe into your kidneys here. Inhale, take plank. Right now, take your left knee to the floor. Cross your foot back. Lower the right foot down. Fly the right arm back. So we've been building up for wild thing. So in order to go for the modified wild thing, we're not in the right position yet. This left foot that we scattered behind us actually needs to slide or work itself more towards the left hand. And then your right foot swivels to face the back wall so that you can turn belly side up, heart up, head, right arm leans back. I still remember the first time I ever learned and taught this pose. It was at the original Half Moon, and I cranked up Jimi Hendrix, Wild Thing. It was so fun. I gotta do that again sometime. And then just take your time, cautiously exit, cautiously bring the left foot back, the right arm down, and spin off your right heel. Slow move, okay? Right knee down. Foot back. Left leg extends. Left arm floats up. So option, you don't even have to do wild thing, okay? You can stay here. This is usually good for everyone. Unless you have like a poor wrist or something. Slide your right foot back. Your left foot towards the back of your mat. Go sunny side up. You're twisting open, you're back bending, you're breathing. Gently start to turn the left foot. Slide your right shin back. Your left hand comes down cautiously. Lower the left knee. You got it, Kim. Take child's pose. So right after I moved last year, my son was having a heartburn. And just so you know, if you ever have heartburn or indigestion, it's medicinal to take a restorative back bend because those pills you pop for it are not the best thing for your body. I know it can be a quick fix, but so a restorative back bend helps. And I was like, okay, grab a pillow, I put him in a back bend, and this karaoke machine was next to him, and he grabbed the microphone and turned it on, and he came up with this really catchy tune. And it was, I'm breathing, I'm breathing, I'm in a back bend and I'm breathing. And that's all he sang over and over again. It was so catchy. We're gonna sing that when we're evolving. Before we do that, I want you to slowly lift up. Because I need you to make sure there's nothing alongside your mat. Because the worst thing that can happen is, and it's happened to me before in the old studio, I flipped over and my foot landed on a blanket and the blanket slid on the wood floor and I almost pulled a muscle. Not fun. You don't want to do that. And a strap could do the same thing. Now that it's clear, rock up. Take upward facing dog this time. Exhale, roll it back, downward facing dog. Now, if you don't want to do the regular wild thing, just come back down and do that same side plank or take the modification that we just performed. Otherwise, you're lifting your right leg up. You're starting to do somewhat of a downward scorpion, except it's not so aligned because we start to pivot the left foot. We drop the right foot behind us, and then we turn sunny side up. I'm breathing. I'm breathing. I'm in a back bend and I'm breathing. You don't have to sing with me, but breathe. All right, flip the dog. Have fun with it. Be playful with it. Face your fears with it. Calm your inner storm. Inhale, left leg lifts. Take downward scorpion, but not to align because we're turning and flipping. Tucking and lifting, arching back and breathing. When you're ready, lift it. Hold downward facing dog. Travel the feet forward however you wish. And release into Uttanasana. So any type of forward fold is a good counter pose after back bending. So we're done with the back bends. Don't bring the strap. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, how we doing? Okay, so the affirmation we've been using is for eagle pose. We're doing eagle next. So cross your right leg over the left. Bend the knees. When you are squeezing those inner thighs together, make sure the knees are relatively focused or centered forward. Okay, zip up the belly, spread your wings. Right arm is going to hook under the left. Garudasana. Exhale, we're going to hinge. Just like we did in the half lunge. You may have to lower your right foot. You may want to challenge yourself if it's hooked behind your left calf. Inhale, build up. Open your wings, stand. Straighten your standing leg and cross the right. And take flight. Lift the bodice, lower the right foot. And legs. Left leg around. I think one time we worked on that and we used Steve Miller. It's amazing what the brain is. Squeeze the inner thighs. Lock them into place. Open your wings. Left arm hooks under the right. Affirm the center of life's storms, I choose to remain calm and serene. I'll hinge. I'll skip that part. Please call me out if I ever do that. Inhale, draw back up. Exhale, unwrap. Rise up. And fly. Guys. But, arm. Bring it down. Feet separate. Bend the knees, press the heart. So bending the hips a little bit before we come down to sit. If you did, by chance, grab a block or a bolster, you may want to sit on it after you come down, okay? Let's move it down a little bit here. All right, so I'm not going to mirror you for this. Your hands are going to open, and you're crossing your right palm more or less over your left wrist, okay? Your thumbs hook, and then you're going to bring your hands here to your heart. This is called Garuda Mudra. Other hand. That's it. Yeah. And Garuda Mudra is about calming and balancing the Vata. And in Ayurveda, the sister science of yoga, we fall, well, everybody has 3 doshas, 3 constitutions inside of them. But we're either dominant in 1 or 2. Very few people are tridosha. Vata means air. Pitta is fire. Kapha is earth. And so this mudra here is to calm and balance the air element. And the air element goes with the heart chakra. Think about how storms usually have really gusty winds, whether it's a sandstorm, a snowstorm, or a thunderstorm. When you are Vata imbalanced, you are more prone to anxiety. Anxiety is a form of fear. If you are imbalanced into dominant Pitta, you have too much fire and you can be temperamental and you can have outbursts of anger. If you are over dominant or imbalanced with Kapha, the earth, you have the tendency to be too lazy, unmotivated. So I want you to be a little contemplative right now with this mudra over your heart, taking some deep breaths, and just be in that state of wonderment. What are you prone to? Is your inner storm leading to depression? Is your inner storm leading to anxiety? Does your inner storms lead you to anger and rage? Being aware of this, recognizing this, we can learn how to create more balance so that we can become the eye of the storm. Soothing and putting out the blazing fire. Calming down the gusty winds. Getting ourselves to move and flow with life. Generally speaking, most people that are more Vata, all this air, they tend to be more drawn to vinyasa or power yoga because it's fast moving. But that could potentially create an imbalance. And they actually need to slow it down and get grounded. People who are more Pitta seem to be drawn more to hot yoga. But again, too much of that can create an imbalance, and they need to find cooler practices. Calm the fire. Kaphas tend to be drawn more to restorative and yin, but to create more balance, if they're depressed, they actually need movement. So I want you to be a little inquisitive with yourself on this matter. Let the analytics go. Just focus on breath. Center of our storms, I choose to be calm and serene. Let's relax the hands to the lap. Open up the eyes. Come down. If you did grab a bolster, you don't have to use it, but if you did grab one, since we did a lot of back bends today, it may feel good to your back to have the bolster turned up. Knees crossed over, feet dangling. Your sole motive here is to get into the state of yoga. If you want to use your lavender towel for the eyes, the lavender is calming and cooling. So just focus on the scent and breathe it in. If you're not using the aromatherapy, just follow the in and out flow of your breath. Completely the flow of the breath. You became calm and centered as a result of this practice and relaxation. Go ahead and begin to slowly exit this pose and join me in a comfortable seat, however that translates to your body. Bringing your hands together. The challenge before us is to go about our day, go about our week, and go about this month. And any changes or shifts that we notice happening and swirling around us, to maintain this calm, centered, peaceful state. Knowing that we have the tools and the techniques to return us there if we get swept up in any of the storms. I haven't chanted the Om Shanti Shanti in a while, so if you want to join me, take a deep breath in. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We all walk away from this practice being free and at peace with anything out of our control, with anything imposed upon us by another, or any internal storms of our mind. Om, peace, peace, peace.